So Brad ran to the store real quick to buy some candy because I'm craving candy like crazy. And poor Olive, she got so sad. She was standing at the top of the stairs, just looking, and then she lay down. She's like, so now I'm trying to console her. Now I've got a puppy here on my lap, a pouting puppy. You feeling okay? Olive. He's coming right back, I promise. Are you mad because he didn't take us with him to the store? What's wrong? Olive. It's okay. You're so pouty. Oh, honey. In other news, look at these cute paws, though. She's so adorable, and I don't know if she knows that she's so cute. I finished How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, and I wanted to mention the house on the cover does not look at all like how I pictured it. I pictured it to kind of look like this, and I've noticed that when there's a lot of description of a house in a book, I very rarely picture it the way that it's shown on the cover or the way that it's shown in a movie or in a TV show or anything like that. I'm not sure why that is. I also read this book without the cover on, so I read it while it was naked, and that might be why the way I picture the house is so different. It was broke up into 5 different sections, and each section represented one of the 5 stages of grief, which I thought was pretty cool. It's about Louise and her brother Mark, who just lost their parents, and they need to sell the house, but the house is haunted. Their mom was a puppeteer, I guess you would call it. She had a bunch of puppets and dolls, and they are haunted. And I thought it was really good. One of the main characters was Pumpkin, which was a puppet that their mom had had since she was a little girl. It goes really deep into a couple of the characters and where they're coming from and who they are. I enjoyed the dynamic between the brother and sister, about sibling rivalry and the division that can cause, and the division that can be caused between siblings when there's favoritism involved, how we remember things differently from our siblings or family members, how lies can really divide us, how estates and different people being left different things can divide us, or different items that people want. I always thought it would be so cool to grow up in a house and be able to go back home to that house and stay there as an adult and just have this special place that is home. But after reading this book, I don't feel that way anymore. This house got under my skin a little bit. This book freaked me out in certain spots. It did scare me. It's not real gory, although there is one scene that's really bloody and I almost threw up. It really got under my skin, and it's a very slow burn book, and the family dynamics are a big part of it. It's kind of interesting. I've kind of felt like a buffet, like there was a little bit for everyone between the slow burn, the family dynamics, the gore, it got into my head on a psychological level where fear is concerned. And I even laughed multiple times. I didn't cry at all, but that's quite a bit to go through in one book, I think. So it's kind of cool that he touched on so many things. There were a lot of references to the Velveteen Rabbit, which I feel like I need to read again because I don't remember that book at all. If I were to describe this book in one word, it would be sizzling, which is kind of funny because it's such a slow burn book, to the point where there was times where I felt like it was a little bit too drawn out. Sometimes I felt like there was a little bit too much explanation of things. But I did really enjoy it. I think if you like horror novels, you'd really like this book. If you like Grady Hendrix, I think you would like this book. I give it 4.5 stars. But if I had to round up or down, I would round down because it wasn't the 5-star book. It was really good, though. I definitely recommend it. But I did like Horror Store more, and I liked the final girls quite a bit less. But it's a solid, good book. It's a longer book. It's just over 400 pages, I think. And I still need to read My Best Friend's Exorcism and the Southern Girls, that one, Guide to something. And then I need to read the one about the rock band. And then I think I'll have read all of his. I think this is my 3rd Grady Hendrix book. But he's definitely a go-to author for me. And I'm so glad that I got it right away and I was able to read it. And if you've read it, let me know. If you want to read it, let me know. I finished Locke and Key Head Games, which is the 2nd book in the Head Games graphic novel series. I think I made a big mistake by watching the show. The show kind of turned the momentum in a weird direction, and the show is so different from the graphic novels that I think I'm going to stop watching the show until I'm done reading the books and then watch the series. I do like the series, but it's just so totally different from the books. It's not as graphic. There's not as much. Yeah, it's just very different. Not as much swearing, not as much violence, I would say. And sometimes I wish that I could make the movies so they could be the way I picture them. It's not the way I picture it. But it was a good graphic novel. I give it 4 stars. I didn't think it was as good as the first one. And it might be the show that kind of dampened my emotions on it. It took me a long time to read it. I think the show really slowed down everything for me with it. But hopefully I'll get the 3rd one soon so that I can pick this back up and start moving through it a little bit faster. My backlist book for the month was Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. And this book is about a woman who is sleeping with her boss while also befriending her boss's wife. I thought it was entertaining in the sense that I wanted to know what was going on, and there was a good twist at the end. But I found the characters, you're going to love this, I found the characters to be unlikable to the point where I had a really hard time being patient with their unlikability. I felt like there wasn't a lot to them. They were very one-dimensional, and I felt like I didn't have any attachment. I can get real attached to unlikable characters, don't you know? But not this time. And I kind of didn't care what happened at a certain point. I almost DNF'd it. I ended up finishing it anyway just because I wanted to know what was going to happen. I did enjoy it somewhat. I thought it was good. There was just a lot missing for me. I can't even put my finger on what, but I ended up giving it 3 stars, and I'll go ahead and watch the show now. I watched it before, but it was long enough ago that I don't remember what happened. A lot of people have said that they thought that Behind Her Eyes was Sarah Pinborough's best book. before insomnia. And if that's the case, I don't know if I should keep reading Sarah Pinborough. Maybe I'll give it one more book or two more books, but it just was nowhere near as good as Insomnia for me. I mean, Insomnia was, what, my second favorite book of the year last year? It was really good, I thought. But this one was just kind of lukewarm. It was all right. It also was lukewarm enough to where I felt like it kind of slowed down my reading momentum because I wasn't really caring what happened next. I'm hoping that the next audiobook or the next physical book will change that for me. I have been reading The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler. This is the Killer Reads book club selection for the month. And I'm a little more than halfway through it, I think. Yeah. It's kind of slowing me down a little bit too, momentum-wise. It's not that it's not a good book. I'm just not really into it. I'm not thinking about it when I'm not reading it. I don't feel like I can't wait to get back to it. So between this and Behind Her Eyes, I really just kind of started feeling like I was in some quicksand or really thick mud or something, trying to drudge through reading. So I'll try to finish this tonight. Okay, Marty. Marty has Marty tail. Marty has made it very clear that he's having a hard day. It's raining and he doesn't like the rain. He doesn't like it when it's overcast. And he would really prefer that no one drive by down on the road. He's been glaring at the cars that drive by, which I think is hilarious. He's just sitting there with such contempt, aren't you? Yes, I'm talking about you. Do you want to explain why you have a problem with that, Martin? Silly boy. Silly boy. You're so cute, though. We still have our holiday bedding on because it's still so cold. Huh. It's going to be down in the 30s tonight. Yeah. Martinelli. He likes having his tail flicked. Baby boy. My 11-year-old baby boy. He loves these bananas, if you haven't noticed. And I feel so bad because this one, the top of it is dark because Olive got a hold of it. And she was trying to tear it open. I thought, oh no. So I took it away from her. But these are his favorite toys. His bananas. And then this one has been his favorite toy since we were, gosh, I think it was when we first moved here that he got this one and fell in love with it. And it's his favorite. In the middle of the night, he'll go grab this toy right here, and he'll run around just meowing at the top of his lungs while he's holding it. I'm not sure what that means, but he really loves it. I just finished The Big Sleep. I wanted to give you an update on what I thought. Olive, do you want to... We like to smell each other's faces. I love you. I love my girl. Yes, I do. She's got her jacket on. We just went outside, huh? You just went potty? Oh, you tired? That was a big yawn. We've got a bunch of blankets and pillows and we're relaxing. Olive just got down. I don't know if she's going to stay down, but I had to tell you, she did the cutest thing. Do you remember for Christmas, she got the dog stuffed animal that is a gingerbread cookie. Well, she still has that toy. And I went to walk by her crate earlier and she had the gingerbread toy. We named it Ginger. She had the gingerbread toy in her bed and she had the blanket up wrapped around its shoulders. It's like she thinks of it as like her baby, which is so cute. So I enjoyed this. The storyline, especially the last 2/3 of the book, really picked up, and it was a very entertaining read. But it did grate on my nerves kind of a lot. There's a lot of sexism in there, and there's some homophobia in there. And I know this was written in 1939, or it was published in 1939, and I know that was almost 100 years ago, and it was a different world back then. But it still was grating on my nerves. The constant, don't worry your pretty little head about it rhetoric. And I know we've come a long way, but I think part of why it irritated me was just thinking about how many people still have some of these views and how far some of us have come, but how far some of us haven't come, kind of thing. And so it was just really frustrating to read it. I did enjoy the storyline, but it just was kind of like nails down a chalkboard a lot. So I give it 3.5 stars. And I'm not going to round it up to 4, so I guess I'll round it down to 3. If you like noir books and you like books about PIs, I think that you would enjoy this. There were parts of it that felt a little unrealistic, but a lot of private investigator books are like that. I still stick with my favorite private investigator book or series being the Alphabet series by Sue Grafton. There's just so many layers to it and so much oomph, and I love those books so much. And they're not all 4 or 5 stars. A lot of them are 3 stars, but I just love her writing so much. So I don't know if I'm going to read more books in this series or not, because while I think it's fun to read about Philip Marlowe and it's fun to experience some of the storyline, just that way of thinking is just a bit much for me sometimes. So I guess I just have to be feeling really patient if I'm going to read the next one. Because I read this one and book number 2, which was called Farewell, My Lovely. But I haven't read any of the other books in the series. So I'm kind of on the fence about that. If you have an opinion on it, let me know. I just started listening to The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I'm already enjoying it. I just really enjoy her writing. And if you're not aware, that one is about a destination wedding. It's a thriller, and that's all I know so far. And then the physical book that I am starting tonight is Dune by Frank Herbert. I'm assuming you know what this is about. I had just decided that I wanted to give sci-fi or fantasy a chance, but I also wanted to try a series, because I don't read very many series books anymore. And I thought it would be fun to start a new one. And this is the one that I decided on. And it says it is sci-fi, which I've probably only read one sci-fi book, maybe. Or was that a fantasy? Or was it a sci-fi fantasy? I'm not sure. But it says that it's a stunning blend of adventure and mysticism, environmentalism, and politics. And also sci-fi. So we'll see what I think. I noticed there's quite a few appendixes in the back. I don't know if I should read those before I read the book or while I'm reading or after. If you have an opinion on that, please let me know. It's got this fun map in here. If you've read this, let me know what you thought of it and if you think I'll like it. And if you haven't read it but you want to, let me know. Of course, that's always fun to hear too. It is only 612 pages long. So I should get through it very quickly. I wish there was an audiobook on SCRIBD that I could listen to also. I always enjoy reading and listening, but there's not. So I'm going to have to just read it with my eyeballs. What are you doing, Olive Ramona? What you doing? Olive? I'm going to end this video here. I will pick up with a reading vlog on my experience reading Dune. I will probably be doing some reactions while I'm reading it since it's such a long book. And I know a lot of you have probably already read it, so maybe you'll enjoy hearing my thoughts. I'll try my hardest to not give any spoilers. And I'll also let you know what I think of the guest list. I'm really enjoying not having a TBR anymore and just reading what I feel like reading. And I feel like my criteria for each month so far, anyway, it's only January, but it's working out really well. I have read a book in each of the prompts that I'm going for, which is the Killer Reads Book a Month book club on the months that I'm reading the book, a book of the month book, maybe 2 each month to try to get caught up with all the ones I haven't read yet, a backlist book, a nonfiction book, a classic, and then just more TBR books along the way. I have not read a cozy book yet this month, though, and I would like to read a cozy book every month, but I just haven't quite been in the mood this month. So we'll see what happens throughout these next few days of the month or in February. Let me know what you're reading. I would love to hear all about it. And if you have any books that you think I might be interested in, let me know. I'm on a very light buying freeze right now for 5 more months, but that doesn't mean that I can't put books on my wish list, and I will still be getting book of the month each month. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Happy reading. Bye. Let's straighten this out, okay? We've been watching Real Housewives of Potomac. She's a little irritated about this conversation about Juan. So you don't think Juan is seeing anyone else? Is that what you're saying, sweetie? No? Okay. So you heard it from Olive. Olive is saying that's just not the case. She likes Juan. Don't mess with Juan. Right? Juan's only talking to Robin, right? Okay.